Wow, a lot of Canadians' jaws dropped on Wednesday when they got the news that Canada's deficit is a staggering $343 billion. That's what was announced by Finance Minister Bill Morneau on Wednesday. It was like pulling teeth because they did not want to table a budget. They have not. They didn't even want to present an economic update. Instead, Bill Morneau and the Liberal government presented this fiscal snapshot, as they call it, just a little picture into how much money is flowing out the door every single day. 343 billion just a couple years ago, that was actually the sum of the federal budget. That was not the deficit. Now we're talking that's the deficit, and the debt is set to exceed $1 trillion. Here's why this should be alarming though, because we all agree and we all understand why the deficit is so high this year, because of course there's a forced shutdown of the economy and the government has propped up individuals and businesses. But when's it going to end? Provinces are moving into different phases of their reopenings. People are beginning to get back to work. They're keeping their distance and doing enhanced hygiene to hope that we can still sort of get back to some semblance of economic normality while also flattening the curve. The government, though, seems behind the curve in terms of that approach. A lot of business leaders saying we now need to move from economic support to economic recovery. And yet this snapshot offered none of that. No indication of revising these programs, no indication of encouraging people to get off of these supports and finding ways to get the economy moving again. No revisions to the programs, as many business leaders and opposition politicians were asking for. And here's the other alarming thing. No projections beyond this current fiscal year. So what is the plan, the long-term plan? Andrew Scheer, opposition leader, saying the Liberals have no plan to get us out of this, and pointing out that a report from the OECD indicated Canada has the worst unemployment in the G7. So we are in a rough spot, and yet we are doing no planning. New Zealand already put forward a budget. They're obviously in the same world we are, so they are also facing a global pandemic, a country similar to ours in many respects, and yet we get nothing out of the Liberal government on Wednesday. Very alarming to see us face the most staggering deficit debt numbers we have ever faced, and yet very little plan about what comes next.